managing tough stakeholders is not an easy job. In this video, I will first explain who is a stakeholder. Then I will elaborate that why is stakeholder management so challenging. Afterward, I will identify some of the benefits that we can get from doing effective stakeholder management. Lastly, I will share tips that I have found very helpful in managing tough stakeholder conversations. Let's get started. I never had to have any tough stakeholder conversations. All my stakeholder discussions were easy and like a breeze. Just kidding, it hardly is easy. However, I do adopt some approaches so that I am positioned well to lead it effectively as a true product leader. But before delving into it, let's set up some common ground around stakeholders. Who is a stakeholder? Simply put, a stakeholder is a person or group that has an interest or concern in something, especially a business. The interests of stakeholders can vary and may be in conflict with each other. A stakeholder for a product manager can include customers, users, internal teams, such as sales, marketing, and engineering, shareholders, and other stakeholders within the organization, as well as external partners and vendors. It's always a good practice to see your development team, quality assurance, and designers as stakeholders, as they have an interest in the product and they have a big influence on the product. The product manager is responsible for understanding the needs and priorities of these stakeholders and using that information to guide the development and success of the product. Now that we have identified our stakeholders, let's see why is stakeholder management challenging. To start with, the interests of stakeholders can vary and may be in conflict with each other. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there could be various factors that make it challenging. Let's uncover them one by one, starting with their diversified interests. The definition of a stakeholder is so wide that there are often too many players in the game. Interestingly, not all have the same objectives, interests, perspectives, and priorities. The next one originates from their varied influences. All stakeholders are not equal, and neither is their influence. There is a power and interest factor at play, and it demands a strategic approach to handle the influence accordingly. Then there are the dynamics of communication and relationships. Stakeholder management is heavily influenced by communication strategy and relationship strengths. Finding out the right tone, appropriate depth, and suitable channels takes some trial and error to get to the sweet spot. The same is the case with stakeholder relationships. It needs an understanding of stakeholders, their pains, their gains, what they think, what they say, and many other interpersonal dimensions to build those deeper connections and strengthen relationships. An empathy map and stakeholder register could be effective tools for it. Last but not least in the list of influencing factors is the factor of competing product priorities. This one is straightforward. The product has a vision and it has objectives that the product manager wants to achieve. Hence, the product has priorities that unfortunately at many points will not be the same priority for others and would need efforts to gain that alignment. Many more such delicate factors that play at the intersection of product business and human psychology make stakeholder management challenging and interesting at the same time. However, if done effectively, it could be very beneficial for the product's progress. Now let's shift our focus to the good part, where we uncover the benefits to reap from effective stakeholder management. The effort put in to navigate effectively through the maze of stakeholder management pays off very well in the form of: first, the product is aligned with the goals and objectives of the organization and its various stakeholders. Second, by engaging and communicating with stakeholders, product managers can gain a better understanding of customer needs and make more informed decisions. Third, build buy-in and support for the product, avoid unnecessary delays, and reworks in the development process. Reduce other inefficiencies that can impact the product development process. Fourth, by engaging stakeholders in the product development process, product managers can identify and address potential issues early on and ensure that the product meets the needs and expectations of its intended users and customers. And fifth, building strong relationships through effective communication and collaboration can benefit the company in the long run. So, if effective stakeholder management is so impactful and beneficial, then how should we go about implementing it in the field? This is where I leverage the key tips that have been very helpful to me in managing tough stakeholder conversations. Starting with being prepared. I believe that you can never be over-prepared. Preparedness is your most strategic ally in such cases. Study your stakeholders, their likes and pains, think through scenarios, anticipate objections, and gather data and evidence to back your approach. Always share the agenda and any related material in advance that can help others be prepared for the discussion. Additionally, it makes you more trustworthy and gives you a good head start for a successful conversation. Next comes the magic of clear communication and active listening. Being clear and concise helps build confidence and enhances focus on the message that you want to get through. Be clear about your positioning and the rationale behind that stand. Avoid using jargon or technical terms that the stakeholder may not understand. Apply active listening practice and pay attention to what the stakeholder is saying and try to understand their perspective. Ask open-ended questions to set the stage for a productive conversation. Ask questions to clarify their concerns and show your genuine interest in understanding others' points of view. All this enables you to be confident, trustworthy, and empathetic, which can be really magical in tough situations. The third one can sound very obvious, and that's because it can't be ignored at any cost. Stay calm and avoid getting defensive. I know this could be a tough one as these conversations could sometimes test your limits. Being calm, composed, and very professional may not be easy but is definitely the only way forward. Getting defensive is another detrimental position that you might take up unconsciously. This position pushes you to the corner and diverts your attention. Even if you disagree, be open and consider stakeholder feedback to see how it may impact your point of view. Be open to all possibilities, without getting defensive about your perspective, and seek to clarify other possibilities through rational approaches. The fourth one is also the golden rule of any negotiation: find a win-win proposition. Although everyone in the conversation might have a common larger goal, their positioning and approaches would vary. Seek common ground, look for areas of agreement, and try to find ways to meet the stakeholders' needs while progressing towards the larger common goal. The fifth and last one is to summarize and highlight the action item. This one is so critical that if not done well or not done at all, it will nullify the benefits gained from all the above points. Always, ensure to use the last couple of minutes to summarize at a high level the agreements and decisions taken, open topics that will be taken up later, and the plan of action for closed as well as open topics. It's always beneficial to send short minutes of the meeting as a discussion follow-up to keep a record of progress and keep everyone on the same page, including those who could not participate earlier. So, to sum it up, there are no shortcuts to managing tough stakeholder conversations. We need to know stakeholders well, be strategic, establish authenticity, over-prepare, be flexible, be action-oriented, and last but not the least, enjoy the enriching experience. Because when you will look back to these moments, you will find that these were the experiences that shaped your professional capability and gave you fantastic avenues to strengthen your brain muscles. Remember, no gain without pain. Found something useful? Consider subscribing for more such content.